What's up, guys? Today we are going to learn a common little thing that happens on these large high capacity trays down here at the bottom. It has to do with some false jamming and just in general this little door over here on the right that you have to open up all the time every time you do have a jam. So stick around, I'm going to show you how to replace that door and what to look for inside of it.
Copier copying, take 3.
Alright, so we're down on the ground on the right hand side of the machine and we're looking at the two paper feed drawers. And all you need for this is super simple, is just a flathead screwdriver. This process actually works on both doors here, so depending on where you're having the issue, you can kind of follow along and clear the jam and fix these things regardless of which drawer you're looking at. So in my case, I actually have a customer that's talking to me about this bottom one from the high capacity tray. And what's happening is it's getting some false jams and the door really isn't closing or staying closed tight. So what we're gonna do is I'm just actually gonna ship him this entire door so he can replace his. But while we're in there fixing it or removing it, I'm gonna show you kind of what to look for. So first thing we're gonna do, like I said, it's very easy. We're just gonna open it up. And then over here on the right-hand side, you can see we have this little white clip. And that clip is kind of holding the door in place so it doesn't just fall off randomly. And that just pulls right out. And then all you have to do is push this little lever in and the whole door will come right out. This is where I like to use the flathead screwdriver and just kind of pull it right out. So one thing you want to look at, and one thing you're going to notice, is this little sensor right here. And this is the sensor that tells the machine that that door is closed. So we want to make sure that, first of all, that's functioning correctly. So what you can do is you can actually turn the machine on and just push this with your finger and make sure that it recognizes that everything is all good. If it still thinks that the door is open even after you've pressed this sensor, then chances are that this sensor is probably bad, needs to be replaced. Secondly, while we're here, if we look down here on the door, this little piece in the upper right-hand corner, it's kind of like a vertical piece. That's the part that actually pushes that sensor. So if this piece is broken off or damaged in any way, and it is somewhat common depending on how often you're opening this door, sometimes that thing breaks off and it just needs to be either glued back on if you still have the piece, or just replace the whole door because it's going to cause you a lot of problems. I have seen people actually tape this sensor down, and obviously that theoretically works, but probably not the best solution. And also, while we're here, we have these rollers, and you can also just take a look and see how those are doing. Clean them up, moisturize them, make sure that they're still kind of sticky and rubbery, so they're pulling the paper through nice and easily. And then, like I said, we can also do the same process for this top drawer. And it has a similar white clip over here in the right, and that'll pop right off. And same deal, you can just stick a flathead screwdriver in there and then it comes right out. And while we're down here, one other thing that is very, very common is this little flapper door. This is just a little paper guide that helps the paper move through the system correctly. And this is held on the same way, but in this case, it's actually got the little lever that you need to push over here on the left-hand side. And the best way to do it is to actually push this so it's in the vertical position and then put the screwdriver right in there. So in order to do that, like I said, we're just going to put that in, kind of pull it out a little bit, and this comes right out. And this is the little lever that I was pushing on to get that out. This little piece is kind of notorious sometimes for breaking off, and if this paper guide is not held in place correctly and properly, you're going to get a lot of false jams as well. The most minor little deviation from where it's supposed to be can cause some of those false jams. So make sure that's correct. In the past, I've actually taken a tiny piece of paper, folded it up, and then just kind of stuck it between the actual, the main part of the guide and this little tab, just to give it a little bit more pressure against the side of the machine so it's not falling out of place just randomly. And last thing what I should mention, as you go to put this back in, it is easier if it's in the vertical position. The receiving hole on the right hand side is somewhat difficult, but that just kind of snaps back in there like that. Okay, so, and again, same with this one, same idea with this flapper door here. So depending on what door it is that you're working on, the process is pretty much the same. And if you're having any issues putting these doors back on, occasionally I find it easier if we remove this panel right here and it's just being held on by, you know, these two screws. Take those out. You do have to open the front door just a tiny bit, and this panel slides right off, and it'll give you just easier access to where the door fits into its receiving hole over here. So it's kind of hard to see with this panel on, but if you've done it a couple times or you know what you're looking for, it's pretty easy. So that is a quick and easy way of replacing or repairing these paper feed doors. So I hope that helped. Let me know what you think.